It's shaping up to be a busy fall at the State House, and business leaders are keeping a close watch on several issues that could affect them. Topping the list, tax cuts. Joining me now is the president of the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, Phil Kirschner. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Desiree.
Okay, so is it safe to assume you and everyone else is looking for a tax cut? Yes? Tell me about this.
Well, I think it's important to have tax relief. I think you'll find among businesses that the single most important thing that state government can do to stimulate our economy is to give businesses and residents a tax cut. And so that's one of the things we'll be fighting for in the fall.
Also, do you have some concerns about the 2% property tax cap, meaning specifically the loopholes?
We do. I think one of the great things that the governor and the legislature have been able to cooperate on is a 2% cap on property taxes, and they're serious about it. And what has happened is a number of municipalities have raised fees and put surcharges on almost anything you want, any license, any activity that you have to go to City Hall for, because that's not included in the cap. And there's legislation, I think, on a bipartisan basis that would say 2% means 2%, and that includes all the fees and surcharges that you charge.
What about the minimum wage? Do you expect the legislature to take action on that as well?
I think we may see action on the minimum wage, and that is something we have real great doubts about, particularly now when the economy is weak. It is now set up as a 17% increase all at one time. And I don't know who has gotten a 17% increase even over the last 5 or 6 years. You can't do that and expect to have the same level of jobs and same level of hours when the businesses are not having their revenues or sales anywhere close to 17%. So we actually think it's a well-intentioned but really counterproductive measure to help people.
But in an expensive state like New Jersey, some would argue you need to raise the minimum wage.
Well, we may raise the minimum wage at some time, but I think now, again, you would actually do more harm than good to most people. You know, if you raise wages, as I said, over 17%, and your revenue is only going up 2%, something has to give. And that usually is hours and jobs, particularly in a bad economy. In a better economy, there's some ability to absorb some increase, but in a bad economy like we have now, Desiree, it's just counterproductive.
I want to switch gears and talk about drug maker Roche. Now, they announced not too long ago that they were closing their Nutley operations, which will cost nearly 1,000 jobs. But now there are reports saying that they have a new research center and they're considering putting it here in New Jersey. So is this a mixed blessing?
Well, it is a mixed blessing because we don't want to lose any jobs from companies that are here. But I think, again, on a bipartisan basis, what the governor and the legislature have been able to do is restructure higher education to give us more access to scientists and research institutions. I think New Jersey is a great place to do clinical trials and the like. So I think we may be able to get our share of new research and development from some of these pharmaceutical companies and biotech companies. And we also have a bond issue on the ballot, $750 million to help higher education build laboratories and classrooms and the kinds of research centers that we need to attract these kinds of companies and jobs to the state. And I think you'll see people from both parties working hard this fall to get that bond issue approved.
Okay, on a quick response, if you don't mind, Goya, the Hispanic-owned food company, is keeping its operations here, but it took enormous tax incentives. Is this what it's going to take to keep businesses and lure more businesses? Very quickly.
Well, it really depends. Businesses have a lot of choices now. New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland are trying to poach the businesses we have and offering them great incentive packages. In many cases, we have to match that if we want to keep these good jobs here in New Jersey.
Okay. Phil Kirschner, we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.